Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. So, how about some deliberate creation? You want to talk about that? I want to talk about it. So let's get there. Let's go there. How about that? You know what that is? Deliberate creation is basically experiencing what it is that you think about. And how many times have we thought some kind of scenario in our brains? There it is. It just happens. And sometimes for the good and sometimes for the bad. Because this is what we know. We know that if we think about it, spend time on it, put energy into it, focus and attention on it, we'll create more of it. That's just the name of the game. That's the way it is. You know, you reap what you sow, right? Yin yang, whatever you want to do. Look at that. Because where your attention goes, that's where your energy flows. All of it, good or bad, negative or positive. You know, it really doesn't matter. So your brain doesn't send up an alert, by the way, and says, oh no, you're going down this negative rabbit hole. You're going the wrong way. Not at all. Because your brain doesn't have a moral compass. You do, but your brain does not. Your brain is an organ. And it is set to do certain things. Our belief system comes in from our experience and our teaching and all of that. And we make the judgments and we install that software, shall we say, into our brains. It doesn't come with one. You know, we have none. So just keep that in mind. So that's why it's easy to sort of fool your brain sometimes. And that's why I say, be it till you see it, because if you be it, your brain will start saying, hey, look at her. You know, she's really doing this. She's really, you know, knocking it out the door. She is a concert pianist. You know the story about the concert pianist. I'm not going to tell you it again. But if you're angry about something or you don't want something and you actually want the opposite of it, but you're spending all of your time and your energy and your thoughts on it, that's the attraction point. And you are going to attract in the thing you don't want. Big time. More drama. You think about the drama and all this drama. I don't want this drama. And you're talking to all these people about the drama in your life. And you just keep getting more of the same. And then you say, I don't know what it is. It's just something about me. I just attract all this drama. And the drama comes and this, that, and the other thing. You wouldn't believe what happened today. Oh, wait till I can't wait. I'm going to call so-and-so and tell her. The more energy we put into that thing, the more energy that thing is going to have. And the more consuming it is between your ears. Have you noticed that? It's really true. It's the point of contraction, and the fuel of that attraction is your emotion put behind it. Because of course, you're going to have all kinds of things to say about it. You're going to have all kinds of things to feel about it. Angry, frustrated, mad, just looking at the ridiculousness of this. Can you believe it? Is something you might say. I speak from personal experience, my friends. I do. I know what this is. We just give the wrong thing our attention. So if we can step away from that and say, I am going to be a deliberate creator of the thing that I actually want, we have to move from here over to here. And sometimes that just takes a minute to get going. But I know this for sure, 100%, I guarantee it. It's amazing what happens when we do move over onto this other side and watch what happens. And it takes a little bit of work to keep our, attention on the right things. But as we do, it's a miracle. All of a sudden things start going well for us. We start feeling a little bit better. The positive things that are happening are just those exact things that we're thinking about. Can you imagine? That's deliberate creation. So when we have a reticular activating system, listen, it is very sophisticated. But again, no moral compass. It only grasps the subject and it doesn't grasp the full extent of the thought. So to me, it's like training a dog. Now, you know what I went through with Lincoln, and I mean, we brought professionals in. I mean, we did everything. That dog is so well trained now. You wouldn't, I mean, I could show you some stuff that he does. He's incredible. Great dog. But we have to go down to the very basics. When you're training a dog, you teach them, what is the first thing you teach them to do? You teach them to sit, because sit means sit. Now, if you were to say to your dog, don't sit, what do you think is going to happen? That dog is going to have massive confusion. Like, well, what do you want? I don't know what you want. You're saying sit, but you don't mean sit. And I don't know what don't means exactly. He only hears sit. That's how our brains are too. Our brains don't hear don't. They don't hear don't at all. This is why your intentions and affirmations need to be in the present form, present tense, and they need to be in the positive. Because your brain is going to say, if you say, I don't want to gain weight anymore, your brain's going to hear, I want to gain weight some more. See? I mean, that's not what we want. So the secret to all of this is that we have to understand that the direction of your thought is your choice. I love affirmations, you know that, and setting an intention and following through with affirmations. And the things that just absolutely underscore all of it is that we get to create the thing that we want to create. We do. And when we do this, we can start pivoting the way we think. We can start saying, this is not going to get me what I want, but this over here will. And again, the struggle is in the in between. It's in that gap of this is habitual, but this is where I know I need to go. So in between all of that, there's a training process. It's like teaching your dog to sit, right? Because nobody teaches their dog, don't sit. No one. So if we want to create something different, then we've got to, let's start right at the very beginning. We start with our thoughts. Of course we do. If we are saying, and listen to me on this one, because this is habitual. I hear it. I see it all the time, especially when I'm coaching in these small groups and all of that. I am overwhelmed. I am is a very powerful statement. Overwhelmed is a command directly to your brain. So your brain's going to go, overwhelmed? Oh, you betcha. Oh, you think you're overwhelmed. Now, when you say it, when you declare it like that, your brain's going to look for all of it so that it can be massively overwhelmed. It's going to help you to create more overwhelm. I promise you, this is what it works. So if you say, I'm struggling, you don't even know how much struggle you are actually going to be across because you've asked your brain for more. Okay, just keep this in mind. I am is a powerful intention that we put out. I am, we get it from the Bible, right? I am. I am worthy. I am wonderful. I am a great friend. You go on. I am confident. I am strong. I am the most blessed woman on the planet. You could say things like that. And your brain's going to start looking for things to support all of that. Or you can start saying, it's too, I'm trying, but it's too hard. And your brain's going to say, it's hard. Okay, let's find more hard. Let's look for it. Because again, your brain does not have the filtration system to kick that out and say, oh goodness, let's fix this for you. I'm choosing overwhelm. It is true. That's exactly it, Jane. I am choosing overwhelm. When we put the overwhelm thing out there, I promise you more will come. It's like an avalanche. It is an avalanche. I've taken that out of my as much as I can. When it comes up, it's like a very big red flag in front of my eyes because I know what that means. It means it'll get really bad. But instead, we can just do one thing at a time. It's that simple. One thing at a time. It doesn't have to be overwhelming, but you're choosing it. You're choosing overwhelm. Okay? I'm just leaving it there. Same with can't. I can't. Then your brain is going to look for proof for can't. Yeah, you can't do that. Nope, nope, nope. And again, remember yesterday what I said? Your world goes smaller, smaller, smaller. I can't. It's hard. I'm overwhelmed. It's just tiny. Teeny, teeny, tiny. That's how it becomes. You say it's impossible, you're going to get even more impossible, guaranteed. That's how this whole thing works. We also know about the yeah buts. Yeah buts are serious because what we're doing is kind of edging toward to the very edge of I can't, and just saying, yeah, but I want to show you all my excuses. I want to give you all the rationalizations and the reason why, because it's important for me that you understand exactly. It's a part of a people pleasing thing too, by the way, right? It's to show, I want you to understand how completely helpless, victimized, and overwhelmed and all the other stuff I am, and give you all these reasons why. And maybe part of them are legitimate or whatever, but there is so much energy that goes into that. It's not about flow at all. It's about stopping any kind of momentum and just putting everything stop right there. Time out. I'm done. There's a lot of energy that goes into yeah buts. Queen of yeah buts right here. No more. No more. Because all of my energy going into that instead of into the solution, instead of into the deliberate creation of what it is that my heart desired. Do you see that? We can bow out of that. We can opt out. We could abstain from that kind of garbage. When we hear it, when we see it, it's habit, y'all. We've been doing it for I don't know how long. I mean, I grew up in a home that's how it was. My mother was constantly overwhelmed, any little thing. I told you, she's a queen hand wringer. I adored my mother, loved her, but that was kind of her thing. And we all inherited. It was just, I felt like my adrenal glands were on constant alert growing up. And it's just really interesting how meditation has helped me to sort some of this stuff from childhood. But it's true, and this is what we do to ourselves, and it puts us in the corner. And darling, nobody puts baby in the corner. You know that, right? So let's take a look at this. We want to magnify the action that is going to support the life that we want to lead. That's all. We magnify the kind of action when we want to deliberately create the life that we want. So if it is a hot melt lifestyle, if you want to just get into the regular and have it just be a part of what it is that you do, you got to go from here to there and you got to fill in that gap. So what are some of the things you can do? There's 2 things you can do. Number 1 is a launch pad for any heart's desire, right? Any heart's desire. So put that launch pad in hot desire mode. Absolutely. Hot desire is a motive. Hot desire is the fuel that makes that rocket of desire take off. Totally. 100%. It is what lights it all up. And number 2 is expect, allow, and receive. Because if your expectation is that you're going to get what it is that you want, then you will. Allow for it to not be perfect, and then receive all the goodness that comes with it. Because we have to expect the good. We just have to. We have to expect the support, the ideas, the creative thinking to achieve it. We have to allow for the bumps along the way. These can be teaching experiences instead of a derailment, right? It doesn't have to completely derail you. You just have to that I learned from that, and off we go. Because when we don't understand this, when we don't receive the lessons from the whole thing, when we don't acknowledge our own wins and the nuance of the whole thing and the change, because all of it counts, we find ourselves in the place of having expectations of perfection and just going from here to there with no bumps at all. And then when the bump comes, the quitting happens. And that's when you quit on yourself. That's when you quit on yourself. And I say to you, can I help you with this? Can you just give it one more shot and instead be a little more gentle on yourself? Be a little more kind. Expect that you're going to have maybe a little difficulty along the way. Allow for those bumps to teach, and then receive all of it. The wins, the bumps, every bit of it. And you know what happens? You start to find yourself a little more expansive for yourself, a little more gentle on yourself, a little kinder, a little more loving, a little more forgiving. But one thing happens that is just changes all of it. You don't quit on yourself. This time, you're not a failure. You don't look at it that way. You just say, okay, I had a rough time this time, but I'm still all in. I'm still going to do this. I am a deliberate creator. You are. And you know who else is creating with you? God above. Because he wants for you what you want for you. He sees you with the same lens. You're here on purpose and for a purpose. And if this is the case, then for us to go into the mode and being the very best versions, the up-level versions of ourselves that we can be, requires this stuff. It requires it. And, and sometimes it's just, we got to sort it all out. But if we quit on ourselves, we don't have the opportunity to do it. We just don't. So when we address our thoughts as deliberate creators for the vibrant lives we want to lead, we're saying yes to flow and no to willpower and beating ourselves up and tightly walking a fine line, walking on eggshell, all of that. We say no to all that stuff. And recognize that it's only by looking toward the light of excellence instead of the impossibility of perfection. Because it doesn't exist this side of glory. It just doesn't. And when we can have peace with that, then we can go out with a little more faith and start deliberately creating. So as we deliberately create these thoughts that help to launch these hot desires that we have to take action. There's action involved in all of that. Of course, you knew that was going to happen because we can't think our way into what we want. I wish we could, but we can't. We have to do something about it. Like Carol said, she's successfully taking her supplements, but she's doing something about that. Whether she's filling up a little pill caddy or has her supplements out in a way where she can get them or has a reminder that goes off, there's an action involved in taking the supplements, not just thinking about it. Boy, that'd be a good idea. Someday I'll get my act together to do it. She's put all of that together. You see how that is? It's like that with everything. Requirement is the action. So deliberate creation is merely an acknowledgement of the power of our thoughts, right? It is. And the key is to be intentional, to be joyful about it, and use words that help to stir our imagination and bring into this whole idea of deliberate creation. Because the part of deliberate creation that we haven't really talked about is the creativity of it all. I mean, creation, create is the root word for creation, but there's creativity involved. And so when we ask ourselves the right questions, we can start seeing possibility. And this is where it gets kind of fun. And I would definitely, I don't know where it's around here somewhere. There it is. But get your journal and start asking yourself these questions. Well, what if we started doing things like this, for example, the mind shift stuff? What if we started to shift instead of saying, oh, I have to eat this, which, doesn't actually make somebody excited about it, saying, I get to eat this. Instead of saying, I have to exercise, saying, I get to exercise. I have this privilege of moving my body. Can you imagine? I think about when I start whining about exercise or whatever, I start thinking about people who are in wheelchairs or quadriplegics and what they would give to just be in my position. You think about it that way, the gratitude comes pouring out big time. Instead of I have to hydrate, I have to drink all this water, whatever, I get to, and I get to feel better. I get to have clear skin. I get to be functioning better. I get to feel more alert. My mitochondria likes it. Every single cell in my body likes it. We start to think in those terms and start to mull things over out of a practice of gratitude, which comes right on the heels of deliberate creation, by the way. So the point is when you say have to, force to, hate to, got to, don't want to, it's awful, but that puts you in the same old yuck place, and it doesn't get you what you want. As a matter of fact, it puts this notion of procrastination right in the middle of all of it because we haven't had enough obstacles. Procrastination, excuses, rationalizations, reasons why it can't work out. And then we abandon our heart's desire. And not only is it just a sad case of an abandonment, but it's also a very sad case of quitting on yourself. It is. So here's a thought for you that I'm hoping you will put in this week as we get through this week. And hopefully you show up on Saturday for this. Allow your heart to have the desire that it has. Allow for it. Don't try to quell it. Don't try to tap it down. Don't try to make it smaller. Allow for it in all its bigness, in all its boldness, in all its fun and glory. Allow for it. And that hot desire is the first dibs in this positive thought process that we're talking about so that we can create the deliberate life that we want. It's true. You'll be guided. You'll be delighted. You will be inspired because what will crop up just from giving yourself this kind of freedom, this kind of, abandoned thinking, it will just be everything. It will show up. You will be astounded at how creative you are, at how wonderful things can be. And at first you'll be a little timid about the whole thing and thinking, well, maybe this can happen or maybe that can happen. And then you're just going to be going, bop, 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 bop. Here it all is. Yes, you will. And guess what? It'll be more fun. You'll have more creativity just come oozing out of your pores. You'll become more resilient because you'll see other options. You won't be pigeonholed into a little corner, and your grit will become grittier, because you have grit and not quit in you, sister. That's what I know. Thoughts do become things because it always starts with a thought. Always. 100% starts with a thought. So deliberately creating thoughts that serve you instead of hamper you and put you in a corner is the key to all of this. And that deliberate creation is something that you have right at your own fingertips right now, today, in this next 5 minutes, if you choose. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about all this? My suggestion is that you come and meet with me on Saturday. Come on, let's do it. This Saturday, we're going to get into the trenches on all of this and create the deliberate, vibrant vision that you want for your life. We're going to set the whole shooting match up. What do you say? Are you in? Jane's in. I can't wait. savingdinner.com/vibrant. And I hope you'll be there. And Jean, procrastination, she says, has been my downfall. Thanks, because now I want to do all of this and the others, all those creative ideas. I love that, Jean. This is great for you. So listen to me for a minute here. This is the beginning of 2023. It is a fresh new year. And I'm going to tell you right now that the more you pour into this plan, to this creative vision that you have for yourself, and this vibrancy that I know you want. I read your emails. I read your messages. I know you want this. This is the work part. I'm going to guide you every step of the way. Be there this Saturday, savingdinner.com/vibrant. And thanks so much for joining me today. It was fun. Do you like this stuff? I do. It's juicy. All right. Peace be with you. And I will see you Saturday if you're going to be here. Okay? Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.